Hi, y'all. My name is Lisa Martinez, and I'm so excited to be bringing y'all this new course for the WREATH Design Group for Lori Jacobs. This set of classes is going to be on the Silhouette Studio Design software. So, as most of us know, we are all very familiar with Cricut and Cricut Design Space. So there is another cutting machine very similar to Cricut, which is the Silhouette Cameo. So both machines do the same thing, and they do offer two separate software packages. Cricut Design Space is very user-friendly. You can print and cut. You can cut from vinyl. But the Silhouette software actually has a little bit more features, more functions that kind of outdo Cricut. So today's tutorial is just getting to know the Silhouette Studio software, some of the reasons why you might think about purchasing it, downloading it, and those types of things. And as the weeks progress, we will get into more in-depth on the program and the software. So again, today's tutorial is just going to be an oversight, some of the features that it offers, and what we can do. So let's get started. So again, as I was mentioning, the Silhouette Studio design program, you do not have to have a Silhouette Cameo to download the software. So that is a perk that that is really good, because you can still use your Cricut cutting machine if you own a Cricut. So you don't have to run out and buy a whole new machine. So the other thing is that the software, the Silhouette Studio Design, has 4 different levels of packages. So the first one is obviously free, which I highly recommend that you get. This way, you can download it, you can play around with it and see if it's for you before you start purchasing the upgrades. So let's go ahead and let me take you to the site where you can actually download the software, and then we will go from there. So let's share my screen. Oops. So the first thing is you're going to go to Silhouette America, and I accidentally opened up Silhouette as we were talking. So we'll go ahead and let that load. So you're going to go to silhouetteamerica.com, and what you're going to do is you're going to click on software. And you're going to select Get Software. And then the next thing, they have all these choices, but what you're looking for is the Silhouette Studio. So if you click on More Information, this is where you can actually download your free Silhouette Studio. So so you just click on here, you'll click on the computer that you work with and download it from there. Next is the upgrades. Now there's 4 different upgrade packages. So they have the free basic packages, which limits some of the functionality, but you can still create signs, you can still create different cutting files if you need to. The one thing about it is that, let's see, again, you're just limited. So if you click on the comparison chart, and this is something I highly recommend that you do, it tells you you've got the basic free edition, then you've got your designer edition, which is $50, your designer edition Plus, which is $75, and your business edition at $99. Please remember, these are all a one-time cost. So it's not like, I also use Adobe Illustrator. I pay monthly for that. So I pay the $22 monthly fee for that. I know some people use Corel, and Corel, that is also a one-time purchase, but I think that's also a little bit on the higher dollar. So again, you can purchase all of the, you can purchase, now I will say, I highly recommend, again, let's start with the free version, play with it, and then if you like it, then purchase an upgrade. If you're going to upgrade, I strongly recommend just jumping straight to the business edition. And my main reason for that is because all of these other functions are great, but this business edition just unlocks Silhouette Studio's total capacity that it allows you to use. So again, you can scroll down and you can compare all the free functions. The free software has a lot of capabilities. The one thing you cannot do with the free is import an SVG or a PDF file. That's where you go into your designer edition and your business edition. The one thing for me that sold me on purchasing the business edition is the capability of, again, you can scroll down and you can just make these comparisons, is the capability on the business edition, the higher end package, is exporting and saving your project to an SVG, PNG, PDF, or a JPEG file. Now, this is huge for Cricut owners. If you do not own the Silhouette Cameo machine and you purchase this business edition, you can create something in Silhouette Studio, save it as an SVG file, and then go download it into your Cricut design space and print it or cut it. That is huge. Now, you're probably saying $99, it can be costly. I understand that. There is another website. Again, this is straight from Silhouette America. So what you want to do first is you want to download the free version of Silhouette Studio. That's the first thing you want to do on this website. The next thing you want to do is, if you do decide to purchase another one of the upgrade packages, is head over to swingdesign.com, SWING design.com, and right here under software, maybe lost my train of thought. It should be under here. Swing, let me find it. Swing Design actually has, I can't find it, the Silhouette upgrades. Here they go. The Silhouette upgrades at almost half the cost. So for instance, the package, the designer edition that was $49.99 is $29.99. It's a $10 savings. But if you're looking into that $99 package, this Swing Design has it for $60. A super great deal, super great bargain. I've had design this business edition for since January, and it's been great. I did start off with the free, and I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a little bit, if it is a designing program, so it can be a little intimidating because it's completely different than Cricut Design Space. Cricut Design Space is very user-friendly. This is a little bit more, it's still user-friendly, don't get me wrong. Don't be intimidated, I've got you. So it's just a little bit more technical. And I like it. I really, really enjoy it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our Silhouette Studio. So again, those are the two websites you want to start off first, silhouetteamerica.com. Download your free version, try it out, and then you want to head over after you've played with it for a little bit, head on over to Swing Design and get one of those upgrades. Again, I would go off of that chart with the comparisons, but I strongly recommend just jumping into that business edition for the simple fact, if for those Cricut users, that you can save your designs into an SVG or a PDF file. So with that being said, here we have uploaded our Silhouette Studio, and you will, on yours, if you've got the free edition, it'll actually say Silhouette Student Basic. Because I do have the business edition, that's the version that pops up for me. So today I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of walk you through some of the functionalities, show you where they're at, show you what some of this is going to do, and then we'll just dive in deeper in the coming weeks and start creating some things. But today I just really want you to be able to move around in the design software. And so you're able to start creating and playing and seeing what those functionalities are. The other neat thing is, I haven't done it yet, but there is the capability is to make those rhinestone templates. But you do have to have one of the upgrades. The basic version does not have that. So that definitely will be for a future video that I would love to help you guys do. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop down to the lower left-hand corner, and you're going to see a little file folder and an arrow. If you click on this arrow on the bottom left-hand corner, this is your library. So if you click on it, you'll have to create a login, and it actually comes with some preloaded images, and all of your fonts that you have saved on your computer actually gets downloaded into this as well. So that's a pretty neat function. So if you've got some favorite fonts that you like to use, those just come on over into the program. So this is where all of your files will be stored. So you've got your favorites, you've got all your files, it tells you all your fonts, and then you can go down here and just, it tells you I have the machine, so it came with 100 designs preloaded. So it came with these designs. Again, I've used a couple of them. That was great. I've got project designs. Anything you've recently downloaded will be downloaded here. And then you can go ahead and you can create a new folder if you need to. As you can see, I've created one for signs, one for stickers. I will show you how to make stickers also in a future video, templates, and just some of my designs that I have saved as well. Patterns, these are all of the backgrounds. That number one that you can actually purchase from Silhouette. They do run a lot of sales. They, I think sometimes I believe last weekend they had these super cheap, I think they were like 50% off. I will show you that here in a little bit. So all of the backgrounds that you purchase will be downloaded here. And then of course, here's your trash can. You automatically get 5 gigs of cloud storage space, which I think is a lot. The nice thing about this software is when you go to save your project, is if you click File, Save As, you have the choice to save it onto your library, your cloud library, that 5 gigs that is given to you, or you can save it to your hard drive. So again, it's up to you if you prefer the cloud or your hard drive. There are some things that I saved to my hard drive, but most of my projects I have been saving to the cloud library because I haven't taken up a lot of space. But probably when you start filling up your cloud, you might want to start moving some of your files to your hard drive. So that is also on the basics feature. So, and again, up here, you've got your file. This is where you can start your new project. You can open, save as. You've got your library. Do you want to import it? And that means if you were going to save your entire library onto your hard drive or an external hard drive. And then for those, if you wanted to print and cut, well, print, for those that are making signs and sublimation, which I'm starting to use a lot more, you can print depending on if you have the Epson or the Sawgrass, is going to tell you how to print. If you have an Epson or if you've converted a printer into a sublimation printer, you can print directly from here to your sublimation printer. For the Sawgrass, it's a little bit trickier. And again, I will show you that in another video, a little bit more in depth. You've got your edits. This is, your undos, your copy paste, your select, your view panels. This is, do you want to zoom? Do you want to see your rulers? I kind of just leave everything the way it comes preset. I don't really change anything. Your panels, this is where we start doing, line effects, warping, just different, more in-depth functions that it allows us to have. Again, some of this you do have to have, like for instance, this rhinestone one, you do have to have the one of the upgraded packages to do that. Basic will not allow you to do that. Object, do you need to flip your image? Do you want your image to be in the front, in the back? Those type of things. Again, this is where we can group and ungroup multiple things. On the left, so right here, and again, you've got these little shortcuts up here. You've got the undo and redo. And then this is where sometimes I use this a lot. This is your zoom function, because sometimes this, when you're working on a project, can get a little small. So if you click on this little magnifying with the plus, it will zoom in, and then the minus, you can zoom out. And this function I will show you in a bit. And then you always want to be on the design tab. The store, this is where it takes you directly to the Silhouette store. For instance, if you were going to purchase, oops, I'll have to check on that. If you were going to purchase patterns, I buy a lot of patterns or images. You can go right here. Looks like they're having a 40% off sale on back to school items. And it's just got different images. Say, for instance, like you're looking for that little cute truck. It's 99 cents. So it's asking you, number one, the file type, which is the studio, which means you can't change it. You can't do anything. What you see is what you get. Or you can get the SVG file, which normally will run you a few cents more. But for instance, you like this truck, you like the little, I don't know, little fence thing here. But say you wanted a blue truck. With the SVG file, that will allow you to change the color of whatever you wanted. You want a blue truck versus a red truck. For commercial use, we all know what that is. If you want to purchase the commercial license, again, that also price also increases, and then you can just add it to your cart and purchase. Again, if you were looking for patterns, you could search here. You could type in pumpkin, say we were looking for a pumpkin background. Pumpkins. Oops, we want patterns. Well, I didn't like my search. You can just sit here and search and look for a pattern that you are liking for your project. The nice thing about this is I have a bad habit of remembering what I bought. Nice thing about the Silhouette store is it actually tells you that you already own it. So I don't have the mishap of purchasing this 5 times, because I can come here like, oh, how cute is that? I forget I've purchased it 5 times, but it tells me I've already got it, so I can avoid that. Again, you can just click on it. Say we like this water color thing. It's 79 cents. Add to cart, and it'll add to your cart. It will at the end, it'll check you out, and it will actually automatically download into your library. Super neat, super cool. So there's no downloading on that. Okay, your library and your send button, that's if you have a Cameo machine, that's where you would send it to cut your files. But again, you don't have to. The main tab we're going to be working with in all of these videos, for the most part, is going to be the design tab. Next is, this is your fill, your color fill. This is where you select what color you want your shapes, your fonts, your wording. So it's got all these colors. If, for instance, you don't see anything here that you like, you can actually click on the palette, and the palette will pop up. Doesn't want to cooperate today. But there's another way to get to the palette, so don't worry about that. This is your cut line, so to say, because again, this is the cutting machine, just like your Cricut. So anything that is outlined in red will signify a cut line. If you don't like red, you can actually change it to whatever you like. I just leave it alone. And this is your, again, font size. 12 point, 27 point, whatever you need. This is your selection arrow. So for whatever reason, you've got multiple things going on, and you accidentally clicked on your image versus text. You can always hit escape, number 1. Number 2, you can click your select tool, and it'll just kind of take you off of that portion that you accidentally clicked on. This is a lasso, so you can actually select shapes, hold it, and kind of grab it and move it. So I'll be excited to show you that. This is it is your nodes, NODS points. So when you have an SVG file, so let's just go ahead and insert a file so I can show you that. So the way to insert your file, you can drag and drop, number 1, or you can hit File, Merge. It's going to ask you, where do you want me to pull this file from? So let's just pull, I'm going to pull, again, this is when you have the something other than the basic package that you can do this. So if you were to click on this, click on your picture, and you click on this nodes points, well, it's not working. You get all these little points, and I can show you in another function. Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you, sorry. that is for you to be able, that works. I use that a lot, this nodes point, when I'm doing offsets. So I will show you how to do offsets. This is to create a line. If you need to draw a straight line for whatever reason, you've got this line capability. You can make it, you know, angled, long, square, whatever. Here are your shapes. Again, this is your basic drawing shapes. When creating signs, this is probably one of the ones that you're going to use most, which is going to be your rectangle or your circle. So if we wanted to draw a circle, we could just draw it with our mouse, and we are going to take away this pumpkin. And if you can notice, we've got the red line, which is technically our outline, our cut line, our outline. And also it's blank, it's empty. So if we move it over to the red, it's not even white, it's literally empty. And it's because we haven't filled it, we haven't colored it in. So for instance, we want to make this circle burgundy. We would just click on a color we like and it'll automatically fill it in. And if you click up here, if you look up here, right above your document, you will see that it'll tell you the size of your circle. So for instance, if you're doing an 8-inch round, if you want it to be exactly alike, just type in, make sure the lock is closed, like in Cricut, and type in 8.0. And it'll automatically adjust the height. But because we want it perfectly round, we want to unlock it, and we also want to make sure that the height is 8 inches round. So it makes a perfect circle. So remember, when you're designing and you're going to use Silhouette Studio, or when you're going to use your Sawgrass printer, always make sure that you add a little bit of a border, or just make it a tad bigger than what you're seeing on the screen, because when you go and move it to your Sawgrass printer, you want it to have a little bit bigger than your sign. So I always go with an 8.1 because it literally gives that little smidge of an outline to ensure that the entire sign gets covered. So that's food for thought right there. Next, we have shapes. In the basic edition, you have some shapes, but when you upgrade to a one of the upgraded packages, you really unlock a lot more of these. I think in the basic edition, you get the star, you get the heart, you get a couple of other little things. There are some, so that's another neat feature. The star is a really cool feature. So if you were to click on the star, just click and start dragging how big you want your star. So let's grab him down. Here is my favorite part. That's really not the star I was looking for. I was looking for a more pointed star. You can take this little red arrow, this little red dot right here, and move it towards the center, and look how it changes its shape. You can get that super pointed. I mean, that almost looks too pointed. Or if you want it fatter, you can do it that way. This will rotate your star. And then this little red dot will make it a little bit, we'll turn it more star shape-ish. That even makes sense. And then you can hover over it and it tells you how big your star is. Again, you can click on it. You'll get the dimension box, and then you've got your dims up here as well. So for instance, if we were going to do the heart, let's just do the heart. Let's take this circle away for right now. Do the heart. So because this one does not have the little red dot, we can't adjust the heart. We can't make it, we can't make this dip go any further in, but we can adjust it in up or down. Again, these little Christmas trees. So anything that you see these little red dots, you're able to adjust. On this one, it's going to be the branches. So if we pull it out, you get a fatter tree. This one. Do you want to, oops, I don't want to move it. Or do you want this kind of a slimmer tree? So remember, anything with these red points right here, you're able to adjust the image. Make it fatter, wider, sharper. This will just make it long. It'll adjust the height. And again, at this point, you're happy with your tree. We can fill it in with a color. We like it green. We now have a green Christmas tree. Say you like it, but you're wanting these branches a little bit fatter. And so we can still make those adjustments if we need to. Okay. And also, if you notice, it remembers the last shape we've used. So remember, we did use the circle, and now we've used the tree. So it actually remembers the last function that you did, which is kind of, it's a neat function. This way, say you wanted to do lots of trees. So all you had to do was click on that. You don't have to go find it. And you start doing trees. So you want a tree there, click on it. Another tree there, click. Oops. That one I clicked and moved it away. So we can adjust it. So this one right here, this has, when you see the green, that gives you the capability to turn and rotate your image. Again, let's take this heart away. We've got our tree, we've got the little red nodes. We want a fatter tree, taller. So we can give him a different shade of green. Nice thing, the really neat thing about this color palette is it's kind of color coordinated, which makes it really nice when you're looking for a color. So say we wanted to do just a lighter shade of green. So we actually used this green, and we just kind of came down and we picked something that corresponds with that green. So you can do like a whole different, you could pick every single one of these colors, and on these greens, and you'd have different shades of greens on these trees. Oops, make sure you have it clicked. And then put that little tree in there, something like that. So the other thing about the color box right here is it will always tell you the last color that you used. So these are all the colors I've used, but the light green is the last one that I used, and that will show up in your color box. So for instance, you liked this color and you wanted these other trees to be this color. You can just, oh, well, we'll get to the eye, we can go ahead and get to the eyedropper. You can get, click on the eyedropper. Okay, so as I was saying before, I don't want that tree. I want to unselect it. I want this tree. the color dropper, and I want to pick this one. This one. It remembers the last color I used, so we can just select that. Okay. The next one is freehand. This is a pencil. I really don't use this a lot. This is if you wanted to draw something freehand, you could. As you can see, not the best. So again, I stick with the shapes that are pre-made. They're easier. But if you have that capability, you want to try your hand at it, you are more than, that function is there. Now, if you notice, because we had already selected a fill color, it automatically filled in the last color we selected. So since we selected that light green, it automatically filled in my box with that light green color. So again, I don't use that often. This is our fonts. This is where we're going to add text. So if you click on the A, you'll get this blue, and you can start typing. So you can continue typing if you want to, or if you want your words to be spaced out, say you wanted Merry on top and Christmas on the bottom, you would have to select it again and then type in Christmas. Christmas. This way you have the capability of moving your words around. Again, remember, because we've selected that light green color, it is now filling in everything with the light green color, because that's what color we have selected, and that is the last color that we use. So if we wanted this to be red, we just go to our color box, select red, and now the red is at the beginning of our box, and that makes it really handy when you're filling in things and filling in fonts, because I'll be like, oh, what was that color? Sometimes you don't remember. It's going to be at the beginning. The last color you used will always be at the beginning. Okay. Next, notes. This is probably one of the neatest functions that Silhouette has. So if you click on this note, you're going to get a little post-it note, so to say. And this, two things. Number one, it will not print out on your file. Number two, because remember, you're only going to print what's inside this white box. That's your layout. So for instance, sometimes, again, I will go into this into a later video. When you convert text into a compound path, and I'll explain why you would need to do that in a later video, you lose what font you used. So for instance, you like this font, the font's name is right above here, and you can type it right here. It moved right here. And then you can even put, okay, how big did you make your text? 72. So for instance, you created a whole project, you liked it, but say somebody didn't want Merry Christmas. Say they wanted Season's Greetings. Well, you would have to, number one, you would have to delete your Merry Christmas, and then you would have to add Season's Greetings. I don't remember what font I used. I don't remember the size that I used, because we've created it into a compound path if need be. Guess what? This little note will pop up. oh, I used this font and this was my size. And that will stay on your project. You can make it bigger if you need it bigger. You can adjust the size, make it smaller. And that, again, super functional. I mean, I don't know. There's just different things you could use it for. I personally like the fact that you could add what font you used last. And the point size, because I do have a tendency of converting some of my text to compound paths, because sometimes when I do sometimes when you pick a font, it's got a lot of extra space that you don't need. So you make it into a compound path and it takes it from using this much space to using just the space that it needs. And that's the main purpose why you would use a compound path. But again, I can go into that into a different in a different video. So that is the little note function. Next, we have our eraser, and it does exactly what it says. It erases. So you have the choice of having a solid outline, a square, a circle, and how big do you want your eraser? Okay, do we want this little, so if you can see this little blue dot right here, that's the size of our eraser. So we can just click and start. Once you pick it up, you've lost your function. So just go back to erase and just make sure you keep holding it down to erase what you need. If you want it bigger, you can see how big our eraser got. And now we can just swipe and go away. So for whatever reason, you need that function, that eraser is there. Another, the knife tool is probably one of the neatest. There's just so many different neat functions in here. So I'm sorry if I keep repeating neat and my favorite functions, because I'm like at a loss for words, because it is just truly a neat function. So let's clear all this out. Let's download a PNG file. So let me see if I can find a PNG file that I want to use. So I'm going to go through my, let's see what kind of flowers I get. Got a lot of JPEGs, bows. Oh, look, let's do this one. Okay. So this is a PNG file. So we can adjust it as we want, as we see fit. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. The knife. Kind of scary that I get excited about the knife, but the knife. So on the basic, you get the 4 basic ones at the very top. Straight, poly, which you can draw zigzags, a curve, or freehand. These 4 automatically come with the basic function. These next ones all come with the upgraded version, and I will show you all of these as well. Okay, so let's see. So let me just get out of there. Oops, let's see. So if you notice, I had the knife and I'm not ready to use it. If I click select, I get out of that function. Okay, so now we can do a solid, an outline, and then auto apply. If you uncheck it, you can manually apply it. For this one, I'm going to keep it at auto for right now. So for instance, say you've got, let's just draw a circle. We're going to make say we're making a sign. And for whatever reason, you want to put half of this on top and half of this on the bottom. We are going to take our knife. I just use it, I keep it at straight. It's the only one I really use. And then I literally slice it. Click, release. It now has separated it. You have now separated your image. You can move this. Okay, if you noticed, our image is going to the back. Right click. And we want to bring it forward. So bring it forward, we'll bring it to the, we'll bring it, well, it's supposed to, bring it front. We'll bring it straight to the front. So for whatever reason, you can put that there. And then let's do that here. Bring it to the front. And say we want it there. Again, for whatever reason you need to cut your image, you can slice it like that. Now, another cool function, another neat thing, we'll go ahead and remove that. Say we've taken, here's our circle, and we want to cut our circle in half. So the solid, if we take our knife and we cut it in half, you can see how it actually made that line. See how it's made that line? So it's perfect. It's kind of solidified each half, so to say. But say you didn't want that. Say you wanted the outline open. So let's go ahead and make another circle. I keep using the circles. We'll take our knife feature, our outline. Let's uncheck auto apply. Hit apply. Okay, try this again. Maybe it is auto apply. Outline straight. Okay, why is it not working? Let's try. Let's just do the star. Bear with me. Okay. We want it outlined. Apply. Okay. What it's supposed to happen, for some reason I can't get it to work right now, is that it does not, it'll leave it open. It won't close it. So it'll just leave it open. And I can't get it to work right now. I got it to work earlier and Can't get it to work for some reason. Okay. I'll have to come back and get it to work, and I will show you how to do that. So let's take a square because I've used the circle. And again, when you upgrade your package, you get these other detailed knife cuts. There's a sawtooth. So if you take it, so you've got these jagged lines and you separate it. You want to cut, let's try a different one. So there's actually dovetail, like when you dovetail your ribbons on a wreath, this actually looks like we've dovetailed this. Once you release it, it automatically processes it for you. And you've got your dovetails. Now, for instance, let's go back to our knife function. Let's uncheck auto apply. And let's do this, let's do the wave. Here's our wave. Now, it didn't automatically process it because we don't have auto apply, we unchecked it. But this little oval, if you move it, you can see how it starts making the cuts closer together or wider. And then this is where you could just, bring it in if you need to bring it in or adjust it. Again, this will increase the cuts, or decrease it. And then once you're satisfied with the cut line, you can hit apply. And then you've now cut your project. This, I actually found out that this actually makes really good Easter eggs. So let's go back to our circle. Oops, I said circle. So we kind of want to make it kind of oblongish. Take your little knife function, and I just use the triangle. I have auto apply off, adjust my little cuts so I can get a little bit more cuts in there, hit apply. I now have an Easter egg. I can now change the color if I wanted to. Say I want the top, we'll select this piece. I say I want this piece yellow. Say I want this piece pink for whatever reason. And then you could actually come in here, type some text. And make a sign, a quick sign. Again, pretty neat little functions that this offers that Cricut Design Space does not. Okay, moving on to the top is, so here's where we can choose our font. You've got your down arrow, you've got the list of fonts that you either have on your computer or that you purchase from Silhouette Studio. You can purchase fonts from there. You've got your size, you've got your bold, italics, underline. This is where you can center your wording. This right here is your weld button. We're all familiar with weld, so whatever Cricut, it works the same thing as Cricut. So whatever you would weld in Cricut Design Space, you can do that here. This is your offset. I can't wait to show y'all that. And this one, I don't use much. It's a duplicate. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. This is our white panel setup. So if you click that, because we're not going to be using a machine, I just select none. We're not using a cutting mat, none. What size do I want this? If we wanted this to be just a regular, if we were just going to use the regular 8.5 by 11, you can just select letter. And it reduces your size. So now you know if you were going to make to print a sign on your sawgrass, and it's a 9 by 7 size or your 8-inch round, you know that you need to stay within these parameters. Your orientation, I have it at landscape. If we flip it, we've now got it going portrait. Do we want to show our print borders? That's helpful if we are doing print and cut. Here is where do we want to show the, our grid, some other options. I don't really use that much. Again, print and cut, this is where you would do your registration marks. I can show you that in another video. When we do stickers, that's where you would need the registration marks. This palette is actually just like it is a palette. This is where you've got all your colors. I use this a lot, even though you've got the color functions here, same things are here. You've got your eyedropper, but here you've also got the transparency. So for whatever reason, if you want this to be super faint, the more you move it up, the fainter and transparent it's going to be. Also, you've got this gradient. So for instance, it's already pre-installed. You can select it, select a color, and you can see it gives you that ombre effect. If you like it. This is probably another one of my favorite parts. It's the fill pattern. Again, if we're making a sign, we can actually select our pattern. So for instance, we're doing this Easter egg. See, we could do this pattern on bottom and then a solid on top. If we wanted a polka dots, we could do polka dots. Now, something super neat, you can actually fill in your wording. You can click on any of these fill patterns. These fill patterns are already preloaded. There's quite a bit, but when you get to patterns, those are the patterns either one you've downloaded yourself. I can show you that in a second, or you have purchased from Silhouette Studio. So for instance, I purchased this pink and black one. So if I click on this pink and black one, and I've got my text highlighted, my text now becomes that background. So let me just expand it so you can see. So if you click this, you can really see, you can click on an image that you've got selected, click on the magnifying glass, and it's going to expand it. So as you can tell, my wording now has that background. For whatever reason, I don't like that background. Say I want more of a polka dots. We've got polka dots now. We want stripes, plaid, or those are polka dots. We want, these are all ones that I've purchased. Now, with that being said, let me go ahead and get back out. Say, for instance, let's go back to the polka dots. We're going to add more text. You just have to, you can just copy that same one. Okay, so this is probably, I use this just, there's just so many endless possibilities on this fill pattern. Now, even more so, just can you just see why I love this program so much? So let's see. So here, let's click on our little bottom Easter egg here. So if you notice down here on this scale, is that 100%? We can actually adjust it if we want more polka dots or bigger polka dots. Same thing with any of the patterns. There's some little paw prints. Do we want lots of few paw prints? Or do we want a lot of paw prints? Again, endless possibilities here, guys. Endless possibilities. We'll go over some more of these buttons probably in another video. But real quick, also right here, is your text panel. And this is where you can, it has all your fonts downloaded. It's got the same thing as up here. Your line spacing and your character spacing, if you want your words, your letters closer together, you can adjust it there. Now, if you're familiar that with some fonts actually have, they're called glimpse. Here is a font that I purchased. Again, if you can see how it's got all, I'm going to take these little pieces away. So when I click on it, you notice how it's just what I was talking about. It just takes up an excess amount of space. We don't need it. The wording is super small. I would convert that into a compound path. But back to the glimpse. This is those little extras that fonts come with. Again, you do have to have the upgraded package to access these, but this is where you would be able to access all that. And then you could select it and insert it. One more thing before we end. I don't want to overload you. I had said I would show you how to drop a background. If you had, say you purchased one or you got one from Pixabay. Oops. I'm just trying to. Nope. Okay, so let's see. I want to do. What do I have over here? I've got tons of. Anybody else have tons of files? Let's do a fall background. Let's put this pumpkin. So what I do is I kind of scooch my Silhouette Studio. I click and I drag it into my patterns. So do it take it? You can tell if it took it. Okay, Nelly. Okay, just try it again. Click off the patterns. Drop it into the patterns folder. And you can see it right here downloading. Okay, it's done. So let's click on our, well, it says Easter, but that's okay. Click on our palette. Click on our fill. Again, this is just a little bit of what we can do with this, and I can go into more detail. Click on the fall. And you know what, let's just change this to something that we can really see. The patterns are in alphabetical order, which makes it nice. And there is our fill, but let's see here. Scale. And there we go. So we've downloaded our pattern, and it's now in our pattern box for us to use for whatever we need. If we wanted to make a star and we wanted it to be filled with the pumpkins, there's our star, and we can still adjust it to how we need to do it. Again, that's just some basic functions. I'm sure I threw a lot of information out at you, but there's just so much more to learn and to show you guys. That's just the tip of the iceberg, and I can't wait to get more in details with some of these functions. So I hope you enjoyed this first tutorial. What is Silhouette Design Studio? What can it do? How can it help me? There's just a taste of what we can do with it. So until next week, guys, I hope you have fun playing with this new software. And any questions, don't hesitate to contact me or post in the WREATH design group, and I will be more than happy to answer your question. And until next time, bye guys.